Hello, hello. Good afternoon, SB. So happy to be here. My name is Diana. I traveled over here from San Fernando Valley, but we both did, sorry. Well, actually, he lives in Simi Valley. But I'm giving him a few seconds to catch his breath. Just an FYI, we're 49 and 48, so there's no excuse. If ever you wanted to dance folklorico, do it. There's no age limit. Anyone is welcome to learn folklorico. It's for the community, and Paco and I love to do it. So anyways, I grew up here in Santa Bárbara on the east side. That's right. So Santa Bárbara is and always will be in my heart. Class of 90, SBHS, SBCC, and very proud to say my uncle Manuel Usueta is who painted some of these murals here, and we all helped them a little bit when we were kids. So this has a lot of meaning for me today. Thank you so much for being here. One more song. Oh, and the name of our group is Grupo Folclórico Huitzilín. I also teach at California State University, Northridge. One more for you, El Son de la Negra.
Round of applause for Diana and Paco. Cultura. Cultura. All right. Carlos, go ahead.
Good afternoon again. I'm going to make another bilingual announcement for those ones who would like to hear these events proceedings in Spanish. Just come over here. We're going to provide you with earphones so that you can hear simultaneously the whole proceedings in Spanish. Para aquellos que quieren escuchar en español, por favor, vengan que le vamos a entregar un par de audífonos para escuchar toda la interpretación simultánea de los eventos en español. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Mark Alvarado, and I am the founder and director of the One Community Bridge Project. It's a brand new cultural arts and performing arts organization here on Santa Barbara's east side and also work out of the west side. And Diana Cabral is one of our teaching artists, so if you want your son or daughter how to learn how to dance this style, come talk to us. We'll definitely make it happen for you. Okay, and I'm also the leader of the Ortega Park Mural Rescue Project, and that's why we're here. You know, most of my life, my professional life and in my personal life, a lot of people have always told me, they said, Mark, why do you rock the boat? Why do you want to rock the boat, right? And that creates a little of anxiety, especially in the workplace, even at home. Why do you want to rock the boat? Well, when I understood that these murals were endangered, they needed protection. And so I had to rock the boat in order to get us here today. So I want to thank everybody for coming out today and representing yourself, representing the community, and representing these murals, because that's why we're here. We're here to talk about the murals. You're here to reflect. Everybody's going to be invited to come up to this microphone. You'll have 2 to 3 minutes to talk. And you'll be able to express yourself how you feel. And we'll have some other speakers that are going to come and give you a little bit more of an idea or of a guide of some talking points. Okay? So it's really, really important that we recognize the artists that are here. Mr. Manuel Unzueta, Alvaro Suman, Carlos Cuellar, Armando Vallejo. They're here with us today. Alvaro, would you please just stand up and just raise your hand so the folks know who you are? Manuel, please stand up. And Carlos and Armando are over on the far side over there. If you have any questions, you can go and talk to them. So, as you know, we have the placards that the city provided that show the design of the park. So if you have any questions about that, you can talk to them. Also, too, you see some QR codes for a feedback form. There's feedback forms over here on this table, the gentleman with the green sweater. If you don't want to come up and speak, you would be able to speak through the cards. And Alejandra, I lost that phone number that I'm supposed to give out. And so there's also a phone number where you can call and express yourself as well. So it always happens, right? Yes, please. So while she's bringing up the number, we do have some dignitaries that I'd like to recognize. We have our mayor, Kathy Murillo, is here. District 3 representative is here, Mr. Oscar Gutierrez. And where is Representative Kristen Snedden is here as well in the back there. And I gotta give a lot of props to Kristen. You know, she jumped into this thing when we weren't too sure where we were going with all of this work. Her voice at City Hall was one of the main reasons why we were able to come together like this. So if you go over to that young lady, you can shake her hand and thank her, because she's really one of the people that are responsible. But the person who's really responsible for pulling this together is going to speak next. But before I introduce her, I need to read this number. So it is 805-897-2565. That number will also be available at this table. It's a hotline you can call 24/7, English and Spanish. So at this time, I'd like to introduce to you Our district representative here in District 1, here on the east side, a local girl, Santa Barbara Junior High, Santa Barbara High School, and now she's representing us here in the community. Put your hands together for Miss Alejandra Gutierrez. Thank you.
Can I, Mark? Okay, never mind, we're good. Good afternoon, buenas tardes. Thank you everyone for showing up. Muchísimas gracias a la comunidad por venir hoy. Today is a big day. Today is a new beginning for the city and for the community. The reason that we are here is we want to hear the community's voice. The renovation of this park means a lot to the community, but these murals mean a lot more. These murals talk about our history, and with these murals, a lot of local families share a lot of memories with our families. I grew up, my father immigrated here and my mother, and their first job was working at the Casa de la Raza, along with Manuel Luzueta and Armando Vallejo, who later on, when I started going into school, Armando Vallejo and Manuel Luzueta were my maestros, my teachers. So growing up, I understood the meaning of murals in the city and the murals in general in different places in the world. They talk about history, and history can't just be destroyed with the renovation of a park. Being a district representative in city council has been a challenge, but the reason that I ran for this position was to give my community a voice. I grew up here. I grew up knowing that I was a part of my neighborhood, but not always knowing that I was part of the larger city. What I'm here today to do is to bring community together and the city staff to work together to find a solution for these murals. And I think that working together as a community and united, we can move forward for a change. I do want to acknowledge Ms. Nedden because I am very new to this position, and to have colleague support, especially with a little bit more of experience, really meant a lot. So thank you, Ms. Nedden, for supporting not only me, but the community, the entire community. I want to acknowledge the youth. If any of the youth is here that helped with passing out flyers and going door to door, can you guys stand up, please? I want everybody to clap for the youth. They really made it happen. Muchísimas gracias. And I want to tell the youth that this is your home, this is your community, and you belong here, and your voice is very important because you are the future of the city. I also want to thank a young girl, Valerie Jaimes. If you're in the crowd, can you please stand up as well? She really helped with the social media and getting the word out. I also want to thank, again, Mark Alvarado, One Community Bridge, Ali Cortez, thank you so much. She's been a huge angel, and the Bienestar Latinx has helped heal and help empower the Latino community here. I also want to acknowledge Esmeralda, who works for the Office of County Supervisor Doss Williams. She was actually a student that I worked closely at Santa Barbara High School, and to see her grow into this position has meant a lot. So we're here to learn about the murals, and we're here to learn about how to preserve the murals. We all are very aware that most of the murals are probably not going to be able to be saved, but we're really lucky that our muralists are still alive and they still live in the city, and we could probably recreate a lot of them, but we do want to save as many as we can. But we have to be, we have to come together and finding a solution because we want to move forward with the grant. But today is a huge day. It's a historical day because from now on, the way that the city communicates with the city will change. I do want to apologize on behalf of the city for not doing the proper outreach. And I say it very sincerely. We're gonna do better, but we have to work together, and we have to hold each other accountable. And that's how we become this changing process, and we also become to heal. So by holding each other accountable, it's working together. So thank you so much for being here. Muchísimas gracias.
So, you know, this effort to preserve the murals, protect the murals, it wasn't a one-man show, I'll tell you that much. There's a lot of people that came on board to this, and so I want to recognize a few of them right now. Barbara Parmet, where's she at? She called me that first week we found out, and she called me. She didn't know me from Adam, and she goes, Mark, I'm with you. I'm going to help you. She's a photojournalist. She came out and she took pictures of the murals as they stand today, and now those murals are going to live in City Hall on display for a while, and we're going to find a permanent home for the murals. Even though we might not be able to rescue all of them, they'll live through Barbara's effort of preserving them in image. We also have Kai Tepper is here from the Arts Advisory Committee. Thank you, Kai. Michael Mwali from the Trust for Historic Preservation is also another individual. Chuck Flax is another individual that's been helping behind the scenes. Also to, who's that? Oh, Freddie, I'm not going to forget about Freddie. Anna Pilhofer from Cleveland Elementary School. She did the t-shirts. Also too, I got to thank Manuel Unzueta. You know, Manuel he's not the most astute with the technology, getting on Zoom and all these things, and so it's kind of like a student, the roles reversed. You know, he was my teacher, but you know, we worked together on this thing, and so Manuel has been a big help with me on this. And then also, lastly, I don't want to forget Ignacio Moreno, who's filming the documentary. Some of you saw those film clips that he did. Marcus Lopez also is another individual that helped a lot with this effort. And as well as Alejandra Cortez, who we wouldn't be here also because she did a lot of the heavy lifting for this. And I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize the Fund for Santa Barbara for funding this project, the Ortega Park Mural Rescue Project. It was through their generous funding that we were able to do the outreach and film the documentary and put a little food in people's mouths. So thank you so much. And I don't know if I forgot, but I'll mention her name again, but I have to mention Sarah York Rubin from the County Arts Office. But last, but definitely not least, is the revolutionary spirit in this effort. This person, this young man, and he's young because when he told me when he was at the junior high, I think I was already needing braces for my knees by the time he was there. But anyways, Freddie Janka also sits on the Arts Advisory Committee, and he has been the voice of reason for centering the work and why we're here today. And so I've asked Freddie to come up and talk a little bit about the expectations of why we're here and some things that we want out of all of this effort. Because the beginning is now. The beginning is today. Okay, what happened in the past is in the past. We need to move forward on this effort. So Freddie, are you here? Come on up. Freddie Janka.
I'll be quick. Hi, hello everyone, welcome. It's a pleasure to be here, and that was a very undeserving introduction by Mark. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, so what are our expectations? I think so much of this conversation from the get-go has been about, you know, individual murals. What can we save? What can't we save? I mean, at least we got to that point because there was a moment where there were no world. There was a world where there was no murals, and as we can see on Quarantina Street, we've already lost a major mural that Manuel Unzueta was a part of. And it's very sad to go over there. And I encourage you to walk around the block, walk around the corner here. You'll see a blank wall, and you'll see a beautiful bronze plaque from May 7th or May 5th, 1975. And speaking to the reasoning behind the creation of that mural and what it meant to the community. So that should be, for us, a benchmark of where we don't want to go. And so I think, you know, just seeing so many of you here today ensures that that won't be the future here with the future of Ortega Park. And I think so much of what we need to continue to do in terms of, and thank you, Alejandra, for that wonderful apology, which I think was really a long time coming and just so meaningful in really moving forward with this project. We have to acknowledge the loss, the potential loss, as well as the very real loss that we will not be able to keep every single mural. But that really defeats the whole conversation. It's really about a site, it's a cluster, it's an interconnectedness. Each one relies on the other. And so we all really need to be, again, holding the city accountable as well as each other, that it's one site moving forward. We need to think holistically and celebrate the history holistically, and that when it comes down to it, every mural here will continue to live in some form, whether it's recreated, whether it's through some sort of memorial or otherwise. But we have to continue to imagine and vision collectively an Ortega Park in our future that, again, centers the murals. And maybe we're going to be renaming the park. Maybe we're going to be building more walls for more murals. Maybe we're going to be creating a space where artists and youth can come together on a regular basis to talk about art, to learn about the history, to have the unique opportunity to work with somebody like Manuel and Nota and other talented artists. So again, to echo Mark's point, this is really just the beginning. The future is ours. I think it will include this space for the future. And I think that is, again, one of the biggest expectations that we have, is how do we continue to visit the park, to celebrate community in the park with our ancestors, essentially. So I think without further ado, I'll let it continue on with the program. But thank you all for coming. And again, we need to imagine and envision a future with these murals all together, regardless of what physical manifestation they may hold. Thank you.
As I look around the crowd, there's a lot of important people here today. And so I'm going to mention a few names, and if I don't mention you, it's just because I just don't see that well. The young man over there with his hand up now, Michael Montenegro from Chicano Culture SB, another player behind the scenes. How many of you guys saw the lowriders come through the neighborhood right here? That's because of that young man. They're over there, parked over there if you want to check them out. More art, more culture. Also, too, Ricardo Venegas, who's responsible for the last 20 years of maintaining and ensuring that artwork was in the park, is here. So I want to recognize Ricardo. Crucito Cruz, who is also a player behind the scenes. He's our local neighborhood Chicano historian as well. And there's a very special guest here that I didn't even think he was going to show up. I know he's around. And, when I just saw him right now, I was just like, wow. Wow. He's from Kingston, Jamaica. He's a big heavyweight in the reggae recording industry. He keeps gates here in Santa Barbara. And for the last, what do you say, Sky? Maybe the last 40 years, he's been the road manager for Ziggy Marley and the Melody Makers, Junior Gong. Sky, hi. Say hi to the people there, man. That's diversity right there, folks. Okay, so this is what's going to happen. We got one more speaker, and then I'm going to ask for everybody who wants to speak. Everybody gets to speak. You have 2 to 3 minutes. I want you to start lining up right over here and then take the line out towards the restroom. So if you want to speak, go ahead and start lining up. But right now, we're just going to hear some final remarks from Manuel Unzueta, the veteran artist here in the park. Manuel.
Gracias. Thank you very much. Órale. No, no. No, you guys, please. There's a lot of people in here that I owe him so much. Look at you guys. Look at it. Here you are in front of a park. And the reason we're getting together is because the concept of art. You don't see this in too many towns in this country, that people should come together because the issue is art, A-R-T. Only in Santa Barbara, my friends. So let's say whatever we have, even a little drawing by a little girl, even a mural by children on Franklin School, or a song by any kid, or the dancers in Santa Barbara. So, and just look behind us. Little kids playing over there. Kids playing over there. I mean, only in Santa. And look at the weather. Are you glad you're not in Wisconsin? You glad you're not in Tucson, Arizona? Therefore, our park. Listen, we are telling the community that the park is not just for brown people or people of the Aztec background. No, what we are saying, this place is historical. This place, it's part of the history of this part of the city and the county. I don't know if you know that this used to be a swamp way back. When they took over Santa Barbara way back in 1848, some kids stole a cannon from the American forces, Fremont and other guys, and they brought the cannon and they just threw it here in the swamp. That's why you got Cañón Perdido Street, because nobody knew what happened to the Cañón Perdido. By the way, the city was punished that they had to pay, I don't know, 2 pennies so that they could recuperate the cannon. Then it became a place where they used to drop all the refuse in here. And then eventually, in the 1950s, they decided to turn it into a park. There used to be a lot of beautiful trees. It was a beautiful thing to see, especially those of us that grew up in the desert. We appreciate it. I went to that school over there, Santa Barbara Junior High, and I'm sure, how many junior high guys in here? Come on, raise your hands. Art, the concept of art. I don't even know why I became an artist. You know, I just wanted to have a job and that's it. But we used to come through here, you know, when we got out of school, and then people that live in these areas. So when we say our park, please understand that if it's a park with a Mexican, Chicano, Latino background, it's because this is where it is. Look at the name of the streets, Sal Si Puedes, come on. Cota, Ortega, come on, it cannot be more historical than that. Okay, so that's the history part. We are not trying to say to our non-Latino people that this is going to be our park. No, we welcome what the city and the county personally, that they want to beautify this park because it looks very sad lately. Thanks to the efforts of many people, this park has been trying to come back in different things. 1976, I went to Puerto Vallarta to paint a mural sponsored by the Sister Cities Committee. And when I finished the mural, they told me in Puerto Vallarta, okay, now it's our turn to send some artists from Puerto Vallarta to Santa Barbara. So they came in 79, thanks to the Sister City Committee. And I want to remember a man that was very instrumental, Dr. Michael Limes, okay, and another man, Richard Hidalgo and Mr. Molina. So I was not living in Santa Barbara at the time, but thanks to La Casa de la Raza through Armando Vallejo, the funding was given to welcome some artists from Puerto Vallarta, and they chose Ortega Park. Okay, Ortega Park was the one where some murals were going to be painted. Therefore, these artists from Puerto Vallarta came, and this project came to fruition. Armando Vallejo designed and painted that mural, even though it was destroyed through the times, and I retouched it, so make sure that it stays alive. But if you say, well, what is the importance of something like that? Well, the important thing is that it's art. And a lot of our neighbors in this area, they are campesinos. You know, they work in the fields. There's nothing wrong with it. And if they say, well, you know, we want other parks with different cultures. Hey, we got plenty of parks in Santa Barbara to paint about other cultures. Just make sure that you give us a chance to talk about our history. And that's what we are trying to say here. To me, I don't want to deal with the politics of it, the economics of it. To me, all I am talking about is that art moves people, the emotional part of the people. Art in itself, whatever the discipline is. I got to bring an apology by one of the leaders of Santa Barbara, an African American, Cliff Lambert. He was one of the leaders. We donated, you know, the nets, they're gone for this park. And he says, please tell him that I'm sorry, I cannot be there. Cliff Lambert, one of the leaders here in Santa Barbara. He has led so many organizations. So let's give a hand to Cliff Lambert. He grew up a block away from here. And he was a basketball hero at Santa Barbara High School. Because our African American friends, we used to walk with them to school all the time. So we grew up a multicultural city. And we really love one another. And this park was the meeting place for a lot of happenings, including the Welcome House. All I know is that on October the 30th, 1965, they said, man, you were going to a party. It's called Halloween. What the hell is that? So we had a dance here about Halloween, and that's how I got introduced to American culture. Therefore, what we are saying are murals. The city has saved some murals by very well-known artists and by very historical situations where hundreds of thousands of dollars have been spent. In Santa Barbara, we have some very important murals. Why couldn't we give importance to a mural painted by children? I don't see the difference between a brush by a little child or a brush by Diego Rivera, who painted some paintings here in Santa Barbara, or Frida Kahlo. I don't care. To me, a child needs to paint. My nephews, Arturo and Paul, they helped me to paint the mural on the other side when they were like 10, and Diana. So what I am saying, please, I'm not trying to be apologetic about things. I'm not trying to say that this is right and this is wrong. But I think in the project of the city, there is room to make sure that the historical expression of art that has been done in here by adults and children and junior high, thanks to many organizations that I won't have no time to mention all of them. Let me finish saying that I am very thankful that you been mentioned in my name. I never knew that Unsueta could be synonymous with art, but it is, I guess. But it has been a long ride, okay? I live only 4 blocks from here, and I just love to make sure that our city gets better and better, and this time it's gonna be art. My teachings at Santa Barbara City College, at UCSB, have given a lot of fruit to people that have discovered their culture thanks to the concept of art. One final thought before my partners come and speak. There's a saying in Africa, in the times of Mandela, and it goes like this. If the village does not include the youth will burn that city just to feel its warmth. Thank you very much.
I'd like to invite another original artist from Ortega Park to come up and talk about the history and share his thoughts, and that would be Mr. Armando Vallejo. No, doesn't want to speak. Okay, I'm a little confused about that, but that's okay. So do we have any individuals that want to come up and speak individually, not as a group? Craig, come on up then. No, hold on. We'll let you come next. Come on, Craig.
Hello, all my brothers and sisters and children. I just want to say a couple of things. I really don't know what's going on with the murals, but I look at it a different way. They need to put more. And, you know, I've been coming to this park since 1968. You know what I'm saying? This is more my home than my home is. Because if anybody want to find me, I'm sitting right there, you know? And I look at the murals every day, and I look at all the murals, you know what? And it seems like something's calling me to come here. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That spirit is here. You know what? I mean, this is the east side. This is history. You know what I'm saying? Ortega Park is history. I've been to a lot of parks in my life, but this is the only park I love. You know what I'm saying? I love this park, and I love people. And like I said, I was born and raised on Bond Avenue, right around the corner. Santa Barbara Junior High, Santa Barbara High School, Santa Barbara City College, Oxnard, University of New Mexico. I don't know if you guys know about my history. I was in supposed history that I got caught up in scandals, you know what I'm saying? But I came right back home. You know what I'm saying? I came right back home, and I love this park, and I love the murals, you know what? And they shouldn't touch none of this, because you don't mess with history. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Just don't mess with history. And the last thing I want to say is, you know, life is real simple. Love God and love people, and that's it. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you, Craig, for coming up and speaking. Yeah, I remember a lot of families, myself growing up on the east side, and there'd be cross ethnicity games going on. You know, like there was the Boldens from Santa Barbara, the Gilberts, the Garretts. I can go on, but we shared the courts with them, playing basketball, and it was a good thing. It was good to see. Down at Franklin School, primarily, but over here too. And he's right. He said where we used to sit years ago. And I want to recognize the car clubs. We used to have car shows here. And my good friend of mine that went to Santa Barbara Junior High with me, Augie Trejo, he's here today, and he brought the car club nightlife. So thank you for being here, nightlife. And the rest of the community that's here. I can go on and say all your names, but I will be here for a while, and I'm told I'm only going to get 2 or 3 minutes. But anyhow, my name is Ken Rivas, and I'm a longtime advocate, activist, growing up, born and raised in Santa Barbara, and there's so much going on. And when I was young, there was the Vietnam War, there was the Chicano movement. The Brown Berets used to have their meetings here. I remember when I did. I had a family member who was in the Brown Berets, and they didn't know if I should even be in the march because tensions were high. Tensions were high back in the 60s. Some of you remember that or read about it or saw it on the History Channel. But anyhow, I happened to grow up through that time. But mostly what I'm here today about is the art and Ortega Park. And I've been involved with the community, the Franklin's Neighborhood Advisory Committee, now Neighborhood Advisory Council. But I was part of that group, and thank you. And we were, and one of my things that I advocated for was the art, the Youth Art Alliance. And I have a young lady here today. She'll talk to you for a moment, and hopefully she gets a separate 2 minutes to speak. But anyhow, we have a slogan that we're very new committee. And we're all about the art and the murals here. And I'm just going to read you one of our slogans is honor our past, acknowledge our present, and support our future. That's our slogan. And I'll read from you a little bit. I'm going to try to read fast because again, time is short on me. So anyhow, the Save Ortega Park Art Committee formally announces its support for the City of Santa Barbara Parks and Recreation Department Ortega Park Renewal Project. This comprehensive renewal of Ortega Park is long overdue. The proposed construction of modern recreational amenities and the continued inclusion of Chicano themed murals will finally turn Ortega Park into the preferred recreational and cultural arts destination for our neighborhood, our youth, and our families. The Ortega Park Renewal Project is a well thought out project that was developed with neighborhood input that we feel will effectively resolve many of our neighbors' families' current safety concerns about the park. The Save the Park Art Committee is comprised of members representing a grassroots, multi-generational cross-section of local artists, muralists, and longtime activists who live in our community, with many of them living within blocks of Ortega Park. 4 of our committee members are original artists from the 1979 Ortega Park Mural Project, including Armando Vallejo, former executive director of La Casa de la Raza, who was the overall supervisor, of the 1979 Ortega Park Mural Project, as well as Alvaro Suman, Javier Nino, and Alvaro was here too, right? Yeah, he was here. Okay. And Armando Rescon, who was also part of the 1979 mural project. Other artists include Fatima Herrera, Rosilia Rodriguez, Mariana Rodriguez, Veronica Sanchez, and local master artist muralist Carlos Coelho, Miguel Rodriguez, Danny Mesa, and who also is on part of this committee is Roselina Palacios, Arnaldo Gonzalez, Tere Jurado, Claudia Breton, and myself, Ken Rivas. That completes our membership of the Ortega Park Art Committee. Okay, the Save the Park Art Committee supports and prefers that all of the existing murals be recreated, painted on the new buildings by the original artists following the traditional of Chicano muralism, as well as the ongoing inclusion of young aspiring artists. Our recommendation and preference is to instead invest funds that would have been spent on costly relocation of murals into the City of Santa Barbara's Park and Recreation Department, Santa Barbara Arts Alliance program, so that new generation of local youth are provided with art training and mentoring. The option will continue the tradition of providing local youth with the opportunity to learn about the history of Chicano muralism through hands of and on-hand training from a master artist muralist under the umbrella of and support of our future by joining our local artists in solidarity with you, your support, and of the City of the Santa Barbara Parks and Recreation Department, Ortega Park Renewal Project. Let our voices be heard by contacting your elected leaders at City Council, Parks and Recreation Commission, Arts Advisory Committee, and the Historic Landmarks Commission. Si se puede. Just a short note. And while I was at, thank you. And while I was at on the advisory committee at the Franklin Center, I worked directly with Ricardo Venegas, and he supported my advocacy and the committees. It wasn't just mine. There was a committee like there was Ana Soto at the time. There was Rosalinda Palacios. There was Terry, Teresa. I'm trying to think of her name. It's eluded me. But anyhow, I'm getting old too. But the thing is, I wanted to mention is that we need to keep the art going. We need to keep it alive. We have murals. We don't have to dig up the muralists that painted these. They're here. Some of them are here. A lot of them are here. We don't have to dig them up and move them. They're here. They can repaint the art. We want to see those monies. We want to see those monies diverted to the youth and keep it going. Keep the youth energized. Keep them involved. Keep them participating from all over Santa Barbara. We need to bring them together. There's too much division. We need to bring them together. And just like we've all came here together. We all came here for a common goal. Okay? So I'm going to let our youth speak, who is on our committee, Mariana. She's going to talk about her experience.
Hello. Sorry. My time with the Arts Alliance has really given me the opportunity to make friends that I would honestly never thought I would make. And then also through the Arts Alliance, I've been fortunate enough to save up money since it is a paid program, or was a paid program. I've been able to save up and pay for amazing opportunities that have been provided through education. And I want everybody in the community, at least youth, to have the opportunity, same as I did, to participate and be part of it, as it will, like, it grows our love towards the community. I'm not sure if I'm expressing myself right, but that is what was on my mind.
I just now for Ricardo to come up and say just a couple words on behalf of our committee. You word to this.
Muy buenas tardes a todos ustedes. Mi nombre es Ricardo Venegas. Los últimos 20 años he sido el director del programa del Santa Barbara Arts Alliance a través de la Ciudad de Santa Bárbara. Una de las cosas que quiero decir antes que nada es darle las gracias al señor Armando Vallejo, director de Casa de la Raza por mucho tiempo, y a nuestro gran amigo, querido profesor Manuel Unzueta. Gracias a ellos, thanks to Manuel Unzueta, thanks to Armando Vallejo, we have this park. Thanks to them for starting that tradition. Thanks to them for doing what needed to be done back in the 70s. You guys know the 70s, it was very difficult for Chicano, Chicana, people of color to have a sacred space, an important space. These two individuals as young men made that happen for us. Thank you. Muchísimas gracias. Okay. Lo siento, me voy a quitar la máscara. Me van a desenmascarar. Okay. Voy a invitar ahorita a otros colegas, al señor Armando, pero quiero también decirles que tenemos a la señora Marina Martínez, que también está con el comité y está aquí con nosotros para decir algunas palabras. So, quiero invitar a Armando. ¿Quieres decir algunas palabras?
Okay, buenas tardes. One thing that Manuel forgot, that UCSB also destroyed one of his murals about the 1970s, the riots. He painted a beautiful mural there, and they took it away to make a youth center. ¿Dónde estás, Manuel? ¿Es cierto o no es cierto? So he's really nice. Manuel is really nice, but se queda callado con stuff that happens to him. Okay? Y para mí fue un gran placer trabajar con los muchachos aquí del parque. Había muchas cosas pasando en aquel entonces, ¿verdad? Y obviamente yo crecí en la Casa de la Raza, si puedo decirlo así. And we came over here, and before I forget, one of the kids that painted with us was Alejandra's father. I taught him how to paint. And Alejandra used to go to the youth center, am I right? Where's Alejandra? ¿Sí o no? De chiquita, de niña, she used to come and swim over here in the swimming pool. So that's what la casa, besides we did a lot of stuff, no? And obviously, you know, la calle César Chávez, it was thanks to la Casa de la Raza. Y aquí había como 15 murales, los de Puerto Vallarta y unos míos y de Manuel, and they're all gone. And what really hurts me is, where's the trees? You guys remember the trees? We used to climb as a little kids, little Mexicanito kids. We used to go up, way up there, and then to come down, que Dios nos ayude, ¿verdad? But they got sick, they said, no? They got sick and they took them away. And there were also lights at that time. We used to play soccer here. So it is a hometown for us. So muchas gracias. Gracias al comité, gracias a todos. Y como dicen por ahí, sí se puede. Gracias.
Permítame en un segundito. Give me a little bit more time, please. It's very important that I highlight the Santa Barbara Arts Alliance and the co-founder of the Santa Barbara Arts Alliance. And I know he had to get some water, pero I'm going to start with Miguel, and hopefully he will join us. Where's Miguel? Miguel? This young man came to us when, what were you, 7th grade, 8th grade? 8th grade. In the last 10 years, junto con los demás artistas, together with the rest of the artists, this young man has been responsible for the artistic preservation of the murals here at Ortega Park, at Bonnet Park, Sunflower Park, Eastside Park, And if you guys have an opportunity to go to the junior high school, you will find a mural inside the building that's about 200 feet long, 15 feet high, that pays honor, it pays tribute to our indigena mothers and sisters. It's called Earth Mother. We also pay tribute, thanks to this young man and all the rest of the Arts Alliance youth have come through the program, Rainbow Bridge. You need to see that mural as well. But if it wasn't for his commitment, and if it wasn't for El Señor Carlos Cuellar, again, co-founder of the Santa Barbara Arts Alliance, there would be no murals. And I hope that all of you will support these young people and the next generation as we move forward in developing the new Chicano-Chicana muralism of the future. The redevelopment project or renovation of the murals is going to happen when we fix these walls. The walls are falling apart. The plaster is falling apart. Ya basta. Give us the opportunity and the support that we need to double the space so that a new generation of young artists can come in and paint something that's relevant to them with the blessing of many of the original artists from 1979. I want to invite Marina, who experienced the work in painting, and she can talk about that. And I want you to give testimony and whatever else you need to say. Speak your truth, Marina.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Marina Martinez. I am here today because I felt the need to come. I saw this post from my comadre's brother, who I hope is around here somewhere, and I'll get a chance to talk to. ¿Me acerco más? Mi nombre es Marina Martínez y sentí que tenía que venir a hablar un poco hoy para darles mi perspectiva con respecto a lo que está pasando, esta controversia, pues a lo que veo, pues se da que se ha convertido en una controversia. I wanted to speak about the Ortega Park murals and my perspective, my feeling with regards to it, with all due respect. I see a lot of people here that I've known for a long time. I was here in Santa Barbara for about 13 years. I was the director of the Lower West Side Center for about 5 or 6 years. So part of my work was to come to Ortega Park, bring kids, and bring congresistas from UC Santa Barbara to help restore the murals. I worked with Ricardo and I worked with Antonio Velázquez, and I took classes from Manuel Unzueta, señor, lo respeto mucho, ya sabe. Armando, I kind of grew up with. He used to be the director of the La Casa de la Raza, and so I used to go and do a lot of work with him there too. But trying to set aside my feelings because this place means so much to me, as well as La Casa, and give you my perspective. With regards to all of this, when I was working on these murals in 2001, 2002, 2003, etc., it was very, very difficult to restore them because of the walls, because they were deteriorating, they were falling apart, and so it was really difficult. I am an artist. I don't like to call myself an artist. I've always been the kind of person that's behind the scenes and don't like to do what I'm doing right now, but I felt the need to. A lot of emotion, a lot of feeling goes into my artwork, and I assume the same. I'm happy that most of the people that worked on these murals are here supporting what the city is trying to do, to bring this space, make it anew. We used to have a lot of community meetings here, and it really always needed a lot of work. It still needs a lot of work, and it will continue to deteriorate as time passes. So I'm happy to see that they're going to do something about that. As Ricardo mentioned, to give our youth a space, a voice, to be able to do what many of these people did. Art is a form of expression. So, I'm also responsible for the murals, the mural project up at UC Santa Barbara in El Centro. Many people do not know that because I've never really spoken about it. So I understand when somebody wants to change something that you've done and how that feels. I understand all of those emotions, all of those feelings. But unfortunately, you know, times change, things happen, and again, it's important to give other people an opportunity to renew a space that is for the community and will remain for the community. And thanks to Armando and to Manuel, this space is here. I haven't had a chance to talk to Manuel about what's going on at all, and I'll give myself some time to do that. But I wanted to make sure to convey this message from a little bit of a different perspective because I'm looking at it structurally. I'm trying to, you know, remove the emotions of all of my time that I spent renovating these murals, these beautiful murals with children, with youth, with a lot of at-risk youth, keeping them out of trouble. I understand that a lot of the funding is going to go to pay the same people that participated in creating these beautiful works of art, and potentially pay some of our youth to be able to do some of the work. So I see all of that as a positive, and I am here to support the mural project, the Ortega Park restoration project. I respect everybody involved, and I'm happy to see so many people here that care about the space, and hopefully we can come to some consensus with regards to what we're going to do here. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to close and continue the mic to be open. And I thank you for this opportunity. I thank you for this platform provided by the Ortega Park Rescue Committee. Did I get that right? Yeah. So, so for that, we thank the committee for coming out and having this open space. Again, this neighborhood is long time need to change. We deserve, this community, our people, our youth, we deserve to have a nice multi-complex facility park. We deserve that. We deserve that in this community. So let's see it happen. Let's continue to support the City of Santa Barbara and Santa Barbara Park and Recreation. Make this happen for us. Make this happen for our children. Make this happen for future families to come.
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Álvaro Ángeles Sumán. Soy artista de los fundadores de los murales en 1979, junto con artistas de Puerto Vallarta y locales. Y pues veo las diferencias que existen entre dos bandas o bandos, y me gustaría que nos unificáramos los dos lados y se pueda lograr un bienestar para los dos lados y que puedan hacer nuevos murales las nuevas generaciones, especialmente que participen las mujeres. Y una cosa que me voy a atrever a decir, me gustaría que existiera un cambio en el nombre de Ortega al nombre de César Chávez Park. Gracias.
And also I want to say that for all the artists that are coming out today, that the City of Santa Barbara is going to pay them for their time for being here today to express themselves. So we have some more speakers to come on up. Come on up, single file. You have about 2 to 3 minutes. And thank you folks for hanging in there. We're just going to let people speak until there's nobody else that wants to speak.
Hello. Oh gosh. My name's Liliana Jaimes. I'm president of the Ethnic Studies Club here at Santa Barbara High School.
Hi, my name is Blanca Juan Gonzalez, and I'm the vice president of the Ethnic Studies Club here at Santa Barbara High School.
We came up here to tell the city to listen to our community and the youth voice is here. No matter what ends up happening, whatever the city chooses to do, will show where you stand with our community. If you are truly doing this for the community, then listen to us. And to please do all that you can for the people who live and grow up here and not for the people who vacation here for a weekend. When I look at the designs for the park, I see a tourist attraction, not something for the community.
These murals have an importance to us, a significance. It doesn't matter what background you're from. If you look at these murals, you will find something of yourself in here. I know that for a fact, because when I come here, I see myself here, my parents, my family, everyone is represented in those murals. So like Lily said, we need these murals and we need the community to listen to us and realize that this is our connection, this is who we are, this is where we're from.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Ed Darris, born and raised locally here. In fact, some of you might remember the green house across the street with the concrete rocky driveway and whatnot. Well, that was the first home I came home to out of the hospital. That was Grandma's house. It's kind of ironic because my parents met at this park. So I've been associated with this park for most of my life. And the one thing that we know about this neighborhood is that it's a very densely populated area. And when the murals first went up, it was such a boon for everybody because everybody around this area wanted to go over there to Quarantina Street and see what's happening, right, Craig? From here to there. I mean, my first job over there trying to get involved was cleaning paintbrushes. And I thought that was the best job in the world. I'd come home with a little paint on my shirt and they'll, hey, where you been? I've been around this corner on Quarantina Street watching the murals go up. And that became a prideful thing for this community. And this area around the park, as you well know, some of these are 1, 2, maybe a 3-bedroom house with 8 people living in it. So the park became the outlet and kind of like the counseling area for people to go ahead and say, you know what, son, let's go to the park and walk a little bit. And you come down here and you start looking at all the artwork. You start looking at all the different things around. You say, hey, what does that mean? Hey, what does that mean to us now? Why is it there? And so you kind of work through all of your family things. You go back to your crib and the house don't seem so small anymore. But that was the way it was back then. And it's nice to see that there's that type of interest in bringing it back to the community. The one thing that I'd like to suggest is that if there's not enough vertical space to replicate some of these different pieces of artwork around here, I might want to suggest that we do the same thing that the city of Santa Barbara has done to their building department. They've went ahead and produced those on tiles and put them down on the walking surfaces. You know, that's a little bit easier for some of the young kids to see and whatnot. And some of these pieces of artwork look fantastic. They've done it over there at the building department. They've done it at 154 Interchange, and they've done it down at the beach. So there is a precedent for something like that to be done. I just think that you need to preserve all of this work in some fashion. And I understand that there may not be enough surfaces available all the time. Well, then there has to be another solution. You can't just drop it and say, okay, well, then we won't use this one, we won't do that one, because they're all important to the community, just like everybody here and everybody who wanted to be here is just as important to the community. Thanks for showing up. Appreciate it.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jose Arturo Gallegos. I was born here in Santa Barbara. My mom came from the state of Durango, Mexico, 1952 at the age of 19. She was a live-in housekeeper, nanny on Sheffield Drive. And when I was born in 1956, I spent about 3.5, maybe almost 4 years old, living in Montecito. After Sheffield Drive, she was a live-in housekeeper on Miramar Lane for the maternal mother of the 2 boys that she helped raise on Sheffield Drive. I miss that house. I have fond memories. When the lady passed away, Mrs. Walker, about maybe somewhere mid 1960 or 61, that's when we moved here to the east side. And we were living for about a year or so on the 300 block of North Rundario, and then we moved to the 400 block of North Rundario. And then when I was a teen, we moved to Brigante Lane. And we lived in that neighborhood up until 1988. So I do have my biggest fond memories of Ortega Park, especially when I was going to Santa Barbara Junior High School. And I went to Franklin School as well, and Craig Gilbert and I, we're old East Side kids. We've known each other for, well, he remembers me from Franklin, but then I remember him from Santa Barbara Junior High and Santa Barbara High School. We never hung out, but we're always showed respect for one another. The one thing, I'm all for preserving these murals, but I'm going to ask one question, and I want people to raise their hands. How many Asians do we have here in this group? Okay. And how many blacks do we have? Raise your hands. Black people, including you, Greg. Okay. How many Italianos do we have here? Italianos. Any Italianos? None. Oh, I'm surprised. Oh, there we go. We got some Italianos. Because the one thing that I learned growing up in the East Side, we had a black community. We had Asian community. We had the Italianos. And if you see those old homes throughout the East Side that are architecturally designed Mediterranean style, those were built by Italian stonemasons. Now, what I'm saying is, yes, preserve these murals, but why not have murals paying homage and tribute to the Asians, to the blacks, the Italians? Why not? I'm for diversity. That's how I grew up. You see this hat? This is an authentic Australian hat from Australia. My lowrider in the late 70s into the till about mid 80s was a 1960 MGA Roadster. 1600 cc's, a dual carb SU carbs, and that car was a nightmare. If you're familiar with the Lucas Electronics with British sports cars, it's a pain. My mechanic was here on East Coast, Precision Automotive, if you remember Precision Automotive, any of you. The mechanic, Chuck, he told me one time, when I used to take my car there for him to work on it, he goes, you know what? If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be able to make my house payments. So, but anyways, but the one thing that I do remember distinctively coming here, when I was going to junior high school, living on Brigante Lane, I heard bagpipe music. Bagpipes, where is that coming from? So either I walked or rode my bike, can't remember which, but when I got here, there was a group of guys playing the pipes. They were from British, Irish, Scottish background. And I really, because not only do I have Spanish, Mexican blood in me, running through my veins, I have Celtic blood, and I also have Moorish blood. And I am proud of being not only Spanish, Mexican, but I'm very proud of being of Celtic and Moorish descent. So please, let's not only preserve these murals, but let's have murals that will pay tribute to the Asians, to the blacks, to the Italians. And I do remember Chinatown here in Santa Barbara when I was a kid. Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and good afternoon, and thank you for showing up, men, women, children, everyone. For some of you that don't know me, my given name is David, but most of you around here know me as Snoop, right? And, okay, so first of all, I'd like to thank some of the dignitaries. First of all, Mark Alvarado, for some of the city councilmen, the mayor, Miss Alejandra, and anybody else that I may have missed. I'm really not used to speaking in front of crowds, and it took me a couple days to try to figure out what I was going to say here tonight or today. But I think I've just narrowed it down to one thing, and the whole thing is the reason we're all here is to try to preserve these murals. And in all essence, then we have to sort of look back and thank all the people that were a part of it. Mr. Ansueta, Manuel Ansueta, and I think people mentioned a couple people, Cliff Lambert from the Boys Club, Donnie Yee, George Cellini, David Jackson, Craig Gilbert. Where's Eddie at? Where's Eddie at? Oh, there. We played football together. Just a brief history, because I know you're running out of time. So anyway, I went to Franklin School. After that, I went to Santa Barbara Junior High. Then after that, I went to Santa Barbara High. And after that, I went to Santa Barbara City College. So I've been here. I mean, this is my home. The city of Santa Barbara. And I really have to give Mr. Ansueta a big round of applause for the effort that he's done in painting these murals. And like I said, I wanted to keep it brief. I didn't really know what I was going to say. I didn't want to get all deep, but I just said I'm going to let everything come up from my heart, and that's really about it, you know. Okay. Anyway, thank you for your time.
Hello. Hola, soy Victoria. Voy a hablarles en español. No puedo hablar sin leer. He dicho mucho sobre el Parque Ortega en el periódico y en otros lugares, todo en inglés. Así que les quería hablar en español. He vivido aquí en Santa Bárbara por 30 años. Fui maestra en Cleveland School. Soy madre de 2 niños adultos. Me importan los murales, reflejan nuestra comunidad, la cultura y la gente. Me importan los niños y su futuro. Todos queremos lo mejor para nuestros niños. Queremos que crezcan sanos, que tomen buenas decisiones y que no se metan en problemas. Queremos que tengan las mejores oportunidades posibles. El futuro del Parque Ortega juega un papel en esto, en el futuro de nuestra comunidad. Mi opinión es que todo el mundo debería tener la oportunidad de aprender a nadar y nadar bien. Este es un problema de salud y seguridad pública. También los nadadores fuertes tienen acceso a deportes acuáticos y acceso al océano e indirectamente participar en natación competitiva puede brindar oportunidades educativas. Para hacer todo esto, necesitamos mejores instalaciones acuáticas en el Parque Ortega, incluso una piscina de tamaño reglamentario. Si están de acuerdo o si quieren saber más, me gustaría hablar con ustedes. Gracias.
We wanted to wrap this up by 3 o'clock, but we have speakers and we're going to allow everybody to speak, but we are going to have to stop at 3:15. Okay, so it's just right before 3, so everybody who's going to speak, please be as brief as possible. But while I am up here, I do want to recognize somebody, an artist that didn't speak, and that's Manuel's daughter, Annette, who worked on these murals as well as a little girl, and she's here now as an adult. Mija, just put your hand up so people know who you are. Go ahead, Johnny.
Muy buenas tardes a todos. Soy John Huerta, de Santa Bárbara, California. Quiere decir a toda la gente, aquí en ese momento es muy importante. Sabemos la importancia de esos murales culturales aquí, en el Parque Ortega. Yo soy de aquí, soy chicano, no soy mexicano, pues mexicano de corazón, por seguro. Aquí estamos en la tierra, diciendo la importancia otra vez a preservar esos murales con la mano de Dios, con la mano de la comunidad, con los maestros, con todos. Gracias para los artistas, por el Departamento de Parques y Recreación. Once again, John Michael Huerta from Santa Barbara, California, 7th generation Santa Barbara resident, and grew up on the east side on 312 Melifon, 1116 Carpinteria Street. As a young child, I grew up on Voluntario in the heart of the east side. These murals are important to me as a person and as a member of the community because no matter what they depict, what is put upon these walls, it's up to the interpretation of the viewer, the individual. If you cannot read or you're out of school on detention and you walk into this park, you're going to be magically transferred to another place where you're going to feel a sense of belonging, empowerment, motivation, and purpose. If you're a young man, whether black, white, Chicano, Mexicano, Guatemalteco, de que sea, you're going to be here. You're going to feel like you belong. Because when you look at this art, it touches your heart and soul. The murals to me represent a window into the past that can allow me to exist as I am today in the present. And for that, I'm very thankful to Manuel and Sueta, as well as all the community as a whole. Because for many years, I was doing things that were not productive for this community. Now I'm here allowing myself to take part in the Eastside community as a resident, giving back rather than taking away, inspiring and guiding like a light in a dark tunnel for the youth of this future generation. It's important to preserve these, not just for Mexicanos y Chicanos, once again, but for our community as a whole. We need this as a cultural hub so people could be here, to have a place to meet without worrying about permits and other places. We could have our Cinco de Mayos here, we could have car shows here, we could have workshops to benefit single mothers, young children who want to make money. They could have art and workshops here. They could be stewards of this. Long story short, because I know we don't have much time, this is important for our community as a whole. It is the center of the community, and we did not have a volley of criticism during the meeting. What we had was concerns, which were well-founded, because as residents and myself in recovery, we have a sense of ownership, stewardship, and empowerment, and we got to pass that torch along, and all are invited to come on this journey. Thank you very much. God bless.
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Dora María Pérez. Soy mexicana. Llegué aquí a la edad de 19 años. Y vengo en apoyo a preservar los murales de aquí del maestro Unzueta. Soy parte de la comunidad. Me creo realmente parte de esta comunidad de Santa Bárbara. Y no solamente este parque pertenece a la comunidad chicana, afroamericana, sino a toda la comunidad en general. Yo creo que aquí tenemos una comunidad multicultural donde se ha aprendido, en lo especial, yo he aprendido mucho de toda esta comunidad, no solamente de los chicanos, pero también de gente de otros países como Rusia, Asia, El Salvador, Sudamérica, y yo creo que eso nos hace pues especiales, ¿no? Mantener esa gran unión como gente latina, como gente chicana, como gente mexicana, y pues bueno, he aprendido mucho a través de todo ese tiempo. Yo cursé las clases de ESL como segunda lengua en el 95 y he aprendido mucho de todo esto. Para mí este parque es muy importante porque me he envuelto en cuestiones sociales y políticas aquí en la comunidad de Santa Bárbara. Y pues bueno, es uno de los puntos muy importantes donde la comunidad se ha pues reunido. Recuerdo el 2016, 1 de mayo del 2006, perdón, que toda la comunidad, más de 15,000 personas se reunieron para pelear, no pelear, pero para advocar por los derechos de las personas, por los derechos de igualdad, no solamente de la comunidad latina o la comunidad chicana, sino la comunidad en general. Para mí esto es algo muy importante, el estar aquí apoyando a la preservación de los murales. Muchísimas gracias y gracias por su tiempo a todos.
Hello, my name is Tomas Costello. I was born over here on Olive Street, 2 blocks away, in the same house that my mother was born in 1909. But we have a lot of history here with the facility. I remember my mom would tell me stories about why Olive Street used to be called Canal Street because the water just rushed by there in the floods all the time. This place here used to be the city dump, where they dropped a lot of the debris after the 1925 earthquake. So most of this, the bottom was recovered, from the slough that used to be here. After many years, for example, the park is used as a facility for the local neighborhood. When I was 10 years old, I witnessed a fellow get stabbed in the bathrooms over here over a drug deal. And it was kind of a rough place to grow up, but we stuck around and made sure that the park was properly used. More recently, for example, back in the 1970s, we even entertained the idea of renaming the park from Ortega Park to Ruben Salazar Park, who was the news reporter that was killed in the Los Angeles riots. I see now that as the time goes by, our values and change, and we have to keep history updated. These murals that we have here are very attractive, to certain portions of the community that like their history. Other people like to look forward and try to make something different out of here. I know that the people in the sports community are very interested in preserving the use of the fields for athletic functions. And then as a community center here, the little neighborhood house here has always been a good meeting place for the community groups. And we need to preserve these kinds of facilities in order to allow the future generations to share in the kind of experiences that we were able to enjoy here. And I hope that people will continue to support the facilities. Over at the Casa de la Raza, they're selling tamales today, just trying to keep afloat and dealing with the hardships of the pandemic. We have to support each other and see if we can preserve as many of these facilities that we can for the future generations. So thank you for listening.
We'd like to thank Tony, the technician here, for adjusting the mics to a chaparrito chicano from Santa Bárbara. Today we thank everybody here present in the Creator's blessings. We thank Omateo. We thank the Four Winds in perfect harmony. We thank everybody in the Circle of Life. We thank all the dignitaries and the political officials. But we also have a historical political consequence. What kind of park does have a basketball without rims? What kind of park has a park without benches and barbecue pits? What's a park without seniors that used to play their cards here in this kiosk? What is this center without a docent and no park monitor here for 30 years? Why are we here today? So we can discuss why we're changing it? I want to play basketball. I want to go swim. I have pictures of me swimming in this kiddie pool. I learned how to swim in this kiddie pool and be friends with everybody. Why? This whole world on the east side, this District 1 with our representative Alejandra, we thank Armando Vallejo for the political struggle in the 90s that ran Mark Baca in 94 against Gil Garcia. Mark Baca ran in 94. He lost, but he planted a seed, a political seed. Armando Vallejo, in the sense of developing a political consciousness of who we are, why we neglect it. We shouldn't be fighting. We shouldn't be resistant. But we thank him because we thank Manuel Unzueta. He was my first Chicana Studies professor at Santa Barbara City College. Sí se puede. Sí se puede. In 93, as students of MECHA, we helped restore in 93 and 94 and 96 Chicano history. In 93, we had Walter Capps and Lois Capps go to the mural and paint and recognize the history of the East Side. At-large systems in political districts in Santa Barbara created marginalization and political racism. District-based elections created a representational government that now we have somebody that looks like us. In the 90s and the early 2000s, we have gang injunctions, we have gentrification. Now, let's not have part gentrification. It should be full preservation of all the murals. Our murals are our life. Our murals are our history, and our murals are our people. Once we forget that, we forget who we are. So, con eso, I'd like to thank all the organizers, Tomás Castelo, for being one of the founders of La Casa La Raza. So all la chicanidad, all the chicanismo is special in Santa Barbara. Why? In April of 11th, 12th, and 13th of 1969, 300 individuals came from the Southwest and met at UCSB and sparked El Plan de Santa Bárbara, a Chicano plan for higher education. So what we're reflecting on, like the professor said, is our history. And like the word says, therefore, we exist. We shouldn't be historified when we're really here. To all the people here, to the elders and the students, thank you. To the creators, blessings.
There, okay. Mi nombre es Samuel Bañales. Buenas tardes. My name is Samuel Bañales, and I think it's very important to give testimony. Often that's the kind of power that our community has, because there's institutional racism, there's white supremacy, there's colonialism, and so I think that we have to make sure that we use our voice whenever possible. I grew up in the city, 2 blocks near Milpas, and I've been gone for about 20 years. I took a class from Manuel Unzueta, nice to see you, after I don't remember how long. I was part of the restoration of the mural in Cuarentina, and then I left for professional opportunities. So being back, it's interesting to hear about the controversy. It's only been a couple of months because of the pandemic, and it just made me think about, you know, let me go back to this park and reflect. So I came one of the nights because it had been a while. And I remember all the memories that started to come while being here. For example, going with my cousins or my siblings, friends, to wait in line to go to the pool would open up. And I remember we would stand by the wall, right, waiting, and we would play games or point to the artwork, make up stories, you know, things that we would do as children. Now, at the time, I probably didn't know what was going on, just like many of you probably don't remember when you learned your ABCs, but I'm sure you're glad that you learned them, right? So in a similar way, I didn't realize that these images that were that in a community that I grew up in would have an affirmative, positive impact in my cultural memory, because the fact that I can come back and think about all of these things highlights how important the cultural arts and identity affirmation is for a community that has been historically marginalized. And I want to just put in the context why this matters, because often we might think it's just one struggle, but it's not. The 1960s and 70s was a moment globally in which social change was happening. In particular, a lot of the countries in Africa and in Asia were decolonizing from Europe. And that inspired a movement of civil rights, Black Power, Chicano Power, and a variety of other movements here against the war. It's the first time historically in which people then affirm who they are. So people go from being Negroes to identifying as Black, from being Orientals to being Asian Americans, from being Spics to Chicanos. It's a moment in which we take back the colonial wounds that our communities have experienced. We're marginalized, we're neglected, and we're erased. And so I think people just think, oh, it's just a nice art. No, it's not. It's a way to restore our spirits. It's a way to get dignity. It's a way for us to come back to who we are. And so I think that we have to see historically here the resistance efforts. This is one of the manifestations, not the only one, but one of them, in which art and people come together and put the writings on the wall literally. So if a city, you didn't even think about what this would mean, just replicates this colonialist, racist, white supremacist logic that we're all under. And we really need to think about how to transform that. So to restore or to say we're gonna keep the murals is the way in affirming these marginalized communities. It's a way to also go beyond the rhetoric, which we hear a lot about. If we look to the 60s, there are so many parallels to what's happening right now. Our communities are still under attack. Black Lives Matter does not mean that other lives don't matter. It means that we have to call attention to the racist legacy of police terrorism in our communities. We have violence against the Asian community, okay? We have a lot of other problems that existed in the 60s and are still existing now. So I think it's an opportunity, what we do here, to affirm this space, but it doesn't have to end here. It can go beyond that. So I have a lot of questions for us and for us to think about how this struggle is interconnected with so many other ones that exist. Does the city have a land acknowledgement for the Chumash people? We have to even start from that perspective. I'm glad I saw folklorico, but then can we also talk about the caretakers of the land for time immemorial? I think that's something we need to think about for the city. A land acknowledgement to acknowledge the Chumash people in all public events. That would be one of the ways in which we can start to decolonize. Another thing to think about is like the gentrification. I've been gone for 20 years, and now that I'm back, I could see it happening, right? And so is this park renovation, how is that gonna impact the community that's here? The property is gonna be more attractive, right? People are gonna continue to be pushed out. It's very expensive, right? So there's so many issues for us to think about. And so I just invite us to think about how this can be a very healing moment. It could be a transformative moment, and hopefully a wake-up call to the city in terms of moving forward. We need more ethnic studies everywhere. There's so much that we have to do, and growing up in this city is, yes, the tourism, the beautiful, the weather and the trees and all this stuff, it's great. But when you're marginalized in this community, you often don't even able to see the aesthetics of the beauty of it because you're struggling, you're working a lot of undocumented people, right? So as we see that the issues are a lot, but if we come together and see this as a moment to inspire us to continue to do this work, it does not have to end here. It's part of the process. Yes, we should have murals honoring the Asian American community and the Black community too. Why does it mean that this park has to be the one that does everything? No, this is one park. There are many other parks, and there are other ways in which we can come together to raise awareness to the critical issues that are at stake here. So I just invite us to think about that and how we can move forward in these very healing and very loving ways. And I think that it's an opportunity to just think about how we can have a vision and a practice to align with that, much like was enacted in the 60s and 70s here. So here for the new generations, how can we continue to do this as we move forward? Muchas gracias.
Our final speaker has been waiting patiently, and then he had to go use the restroom. And so he's up. So he's gonna just have a few minutes left here. Just want to say, if you can help us stick around just to break down the tables and chairs, they're just gonna go in this room. If you want to help volunteer, do that at the end. But thank everybody for coming out. This was great, really, that we were able to do this. It was recorded, and this will be on city television. So if you didn't want to be on TV, then I can tell you about that now. But anyways, Mr. Ron Paris, Ron.
If everyone can't see this, I'm gonna stick around as long as I can. You know, I'm kind of ill today for a whole lot of reasons, but I'm here. I had to be here when Mark called me and said, let's do it. But first of all, I want to tell you that I'm a Apache, white and black. I don't tell many people that. So it seems to be a lot of people want to say where it's at. Apache White and Black, I'm all messed up. I'm also in charge and on the board of directors of the George Floyd mural. How many of you seen it yet? And the Nelson Mandela, all right, that represents all the people also. The bottom line as far as all the murals here, I've been here 20 years in Santa Barbara because I marched one time with white people, black people, small, blew my mind from Anna Pamou all the way to 1812. Some of you remember Marty Bloom was the mayor. But the bottom line is that all the murals here, including the one that John Palminteri, Cadillac Green, and EOS myself put up, it should remain because it's the same. In other words, this portrait here that I got, I'm not even a painter. But I'll be damned if I've been in awe with what just happened to me recently. I painted this completely by hand, and it represents the trees, represent Mother Earth. All those different beautiful birds represents all you folks right here. Every one of you, the black, white, Indian, Asian, women, so forth. And you see how they're getting along? And I like to think that there's band members and music on the right, because that's supposed to be me, but it could be anybody. You follow me? That's singing music with the birds. Birds getting along. I got one recently, it's a hummingbird. I ain't got nothing else to say, but keep all these murals here, disperse them all over the city. What the hell? I mean, excuse me. But anyway, disperse them all over the city and keep them all up. And we had one disrespectful person when we first put up George Floyd's mural, and I stood guard for about 4 or 5 days. We had no trouble since then. Everything is fine. One more thing, I lecture around the world on university, and I tell all the white students that they don't have to look like me to be related to me. Same for all y'all. My brothers are my brothers from another mother, and the sisters are my sisters from another morning. I was born by the river in her little tent. Whoa, whoa. Just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know with the help of everyone out there, change gonna come. Whoa, yes it will. Bye, y'all.